A bright university office with a stern dean reviewing papers as a modest young woman sits across the desk holding a worn folder. Professors watch quietly, sensing tension and hidden brilliance in her calm expression. Sunlight streams through tall windows, highlighting the contrast between authority and quiet determination. Late afternoon, admissions office, University of Westbridge. The room is quiet, except for the hum of a ceiling fan. Files are stacked on a long mahogany table. The admissions panel sits waiting. Dean Carter, checking his watch. "Who's next, Linda?" Linda, assistant. "Sarah Malik, sir, from Meadowville High." "Dr. Lewis, psychology professor." "Meadowville. That's the small public school outside town, right?" Linda. "Yes, her application was unusual. No extracurriculars, no recommendation letters, but she insisted on an in-person interview." Dean Carter, frowning. "We don't usually entertain incomplete applications." Professor Hill, mathematics. "Maybe she's got something to prove. Let's hear her out." Dean Carter, dryly. "Let's just make it quick." The door opens. A young woman steps in, wearing a plain outfit and holding a small folder. Her shoes are slightly worn, her hands steady but nervous. "Sarah. Good afternoon. Thank you for seeing me." Dean Carter. "Afternoon, Miss Malik. Please have a seat. You're applying for the Advanced Sciences program, correct, Sarah?" "Yes, sir. I know the requirements are high. I just wanted a chance to explain in person." Dr. Lewis, kindly. "Go ahead. Tell us a little about yourself." Sarah. "I graduated top of my class. I have always been fascinated by how things work. Numbers, systems, patterns, but I didn't have access to labs or competitions like other schools, so I built my own projects at home." Professor Hill, curious. "Built? What kind of projects?" Sarah, small ones. "Circuits from scrap electronics, a program that predicts water usage based on temperature and humidity. I used free software online." Dean Carter, scribbling notes. "And who supervised these projects?" Sarah, "No one, sir. I learned through online courses." Dean Carter, raising a brow. "No official certifications?" Sarah, "No, sir, but I have the results and code samples." She slides a thin file across the table. The dean flips through it quickly, his expression unreadable. Dean Carter, "You understand that this program attracts top students from international schools, many with published research, Olympiad medals, years of mentorship." Sarah, "I understand, sir. I just thought talent can come from anywhere." Professor Hill, smiling faintly. "That's true, but you'd need more than raw talent here. We expect structure, teamwork, discipline." Sarah, "I can adapt. I've worked alone because I had to, not because I prefer it." Dr. Lewis, "What motivates you, Sarah? Why here?" Sarah, "Because I've spent my life watching problems go unsolved in my town. Power shortages, water leaks, kids dropping out. I want to understand enough to fix things, not just talk about them." A pause. Dr. Lewis nods slightly, but Dean Carter's tone stays cool. Dean Carter, "I admire your spirit, but we also have to be realistic. Admissions can't be based on personal passion alone." Sarah, "I know, I was just hoping my work could speak for itself." Dean Carter, closing the file. "We'll review it. Thank you for your time." Sarah, hesitating. "Sir, if you'd let me demonstrate one of my projects." Dean Carter, cutting her off. "That won't be necessary. We have a full schedule today." A quiet silence fills the room. Sarah nods slowly, collects her file, and stands up. Sarah, "Thank you for your time." She walks out. The door closes softly. Professor Hill, "Harsh, don't you think?" Dean Carter. We can't lower standards because someone has a good story. Dr. Lewis. Sometimes stories hide more than numbers can show. Dean Carter. With finality. Talent proves itself. If she's really exceptional, the world will notice, with or without us. The sound of footsteps fades down the hallway as the dean signs the next file. 2 days later. Faculty lounge, University of Westbridge. Coffee cups, murmured voices, and the faint hum of printers in the background. Professor Hill, pouring coffee. So, Dean Carter, I heard the admissions list is almost finalized. Dean Carter. Almost. A few borderline cases left, but will close by tonight. Dr. Lewis, setting down his cup. Borderline? You mean students like Sarah Malik? Dean Carter. Glancing up. I knew that name would come up. Dr. Lewis. Because she deserves a second look. I went through her code samples last night. They're not ordinary. Professor Hill. Nodding. I did too. The math model in her project. It's rough, but the logic is surprisingly sound. Dean Carter. You two are romanticizing it. She's a bright kid, from a small school, yes, but not ready for our environment. Dr. Lewis. You're assuming readiness can only come from privilege. Dean Carter. I'm assuming structure matters. We can't take someone unprepared just because she's passionate. The door opens. Linda walks in with a file. Linda. Sorry to interrupt, sir. There's a call from the testing center about one of the applicants. Something urgent. Dean Carter. Who? Linda. Sarah Malik. The professors exchange a look. Dean Carter. What now? Linda. They said her aptitude assessment triggered a system flag. They ran it again to verify. Dr. Lewis. What kind of flag? Linda. A perfect score, twice. The room goes still. Dean Carter. That's not possible. Nobody gets a perfect score on that test. Professor Hill. Unless the system's wrong or she's exceptional. Dr. Lewis. Did they check for cheating? Linda. They did. No external devices, no irregularities. The supervisor signed off. Dean Carter. Leaning back. So, we have a statistical anomaly. That still doesn't mean she's a fit. Professor Hill. Dean, we've had students with impressive records who couldn't think creatively. This girl built predictive models on her own. Maybe we underestimated her. Dean Carter, curtly. It's one test. Dr. Lewis. It's more than that. You saw her confidence during the interview. She wasn't intimidated. That kind of composure isn't common. Dean Carter. Confidence and competence aren't the same. Linda. Sir, the testing center requested if the university would like to re-administer under supervision. They said it might be worth confirming. Dean Carter sighs, rubbing his temple. Dean Carter. Fine. Have her retake it here in my office. If she's genuine, it'll show. Professor Hill. That's fair. I'll arrange the setup. Later that day, Dean Carter's office. Sarah enters, holding her file again. She looks uncertain but composed. Sarah. You asked to see me, sir? Dean Carter. Yes. There's been an unusual result in your assessment. We'd like you to take it again here. No devices, no notes. Sarah, of course I don't mind. Dr. Lewis, smiling gently. Just do what you did before. No pressure. Sarah. I'm used to pressure, sir. They prepare the system. Sarah sits quietly, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. The room is silent except for the clicking of keys. After 20 minutes, she stops. Sarah. Done. Linda checks the system, her eyes widening. Linda. It's another perfect score. Exact same pattern. A long silence. Dean Carter looks at her, then at the screen. Dean Carter. You didn't hesitate once. Sarah. I've practiced solving logic patterns since I was 10. It's like music. You start to hear the answers. Professor Hill, softly. Hear the answers. That's not something you can teach. Dean Carter, measured tone. Thank you, Ms. Malik. We'll review your case again. You may go for now. Sarah, thank you, sir. She leaves quietly. The door closes. A beat of silence lingers. Dr. Lewis, well? Dean Carter, quietly. Either we just witnessed the most sophisticated cheat in history or we're sitting on a prodigy. Professor Hill. Sometimes genius looks simple until you finally pay attention. Dean Carter doesn't respond. He stares at the screen, expression unreadable. Next morning, Dean Carter's office. The sunlight filters through half-closed blinds. A quiet knock on the door breaks the silence. Dean Carter. Come in. Sarah steps inside, holding a notebook close to her chest. Her expression is calm, cautious. Sarah. You wanted to see me again, sir? Dean Carter. Yes, please sit. She sits. Across from her, Dr. Lewis and Professor Hill are already there. A laptop is open on the table, displaying data. Dean Carter. We reviewed your test results with the National Academic Board last night. They confirmed the scores. Sarah. Oh, I'm glad they verified it. Dr. Lewis. Sarah, are you aware of what that means? You didn't just get a high score. You scored in the top 1% of global IQ evaluations. Sarah. Quietly. I didn't know it was global. I just thought it was a university test. Professor Hill. The pattern of your answers matches that of advanced reasoning specialists, people who usually work in AI labs or cognitive research. Sarah. A little confused. I just like solving things. I didn't think it was special. Dean Carter leans forward, his tone controlled but gentler than before. Dean Carter. Sarah, I need to be honest. When you first came in, I dismissed your application. Your profile didn't fit our criteria. No references, no formal training, no awards. You looked unprepared. Sarah. I understand. Most people see that first. Dr. Lewis. But your mind doesn't work like most people's. You process patterns faster than any applicant we've had in 10 years. Sarah shrugs lightly. I had to. My mother works double shifts. We couldn't afford tutors, so I learned through trial and error. When something broke at home, a bulb, the water meter, I fixed it. I started noticing patterns in failures. I just followed them. Professor Hill. That's exactly what advanced mathematicians do, except they take years to train for it. Sarah smiles faintly, unsure how to react. Dean Carter. Quietly. I misjudged you. Completely. Sarah, it's all right, sir. People don't usually expect much from girls like me. Dr. Lewis. What do you mean, girls like you? Sarah. From small schools, from families that can't pay for prep courses. When I came here, the security guard asked if I was lost. The room goes silent. Dean Carter looks down, uncomfortable. Dean Carter. I owe you an apology, Sarah. Sarah. You don't, sir. You just didn't know me. That's all. Professor Hill. What do you want to do, Sarah? You could apply anywhere now with a score like this. Sarah. I don't want to go anywhere else. I came here because I believe this university has the best people. People who can teach me how to turn ideas into solutions. I want to study here. Earn it properly. Dean Carter exhales slowly, then looks at Dr. Lewis and Hill. Dean Carter. I'll reopen her file. Full consideration, scholarship included. Linda, entering quietly. Sir, if I may, the Chancellor's office already heard about the test results. They want to meet her. Sarah, startled. Meet me? Why? Linda. Word spreads fast when someone breaks a system record. Sarah looks down, her hands gripping the edge of her notebook. Sarah. I didn't mean to cause trouble. Dean Carter. You didn't. You reminded us what real potential looks like. A brief silence. Dr. Lewis studies her thoughtfully. Dr. Lewis. Sarah, would you mind showing us one of your home-built programs sometime? Sarah. Sure, it's not fancy, but it works. It predicts city-wide water flow based on pressure sensors. I've been testing it on public data. Professor Hill. Amazed. You've been working with urban modeling at 17? Sarah. I just wanted to stop our neighborhood's water cuts. No one else was doing it. Dean Carter leans back, visibly humbled. Dean Carter. We were so busy measuring qualifications, we forgot to measure heart. Sarah glances up, offering a small smile. Sarah. Heart's the easiest thing to miss, sir. It doesn't fit on a form. The three professors exchange quiet looks, each reflecting in silence. Dr. Lewis. You've just rewritten what qualified means here, Sarah. Sarah gives a shy nod, clutching her notebook a little tighter. A week later, University of Westbridge conference room. The same admissions panel sits around the table, but the mood is different. Coffee cups, open laptops, and a quiet sense of anticipation. Professor Hill, scrolling through his laptop. She's been here for orientation week, right? Linda. Yes, sir. She's been spending most of her time in the computer lab. Barely talks, but everyone's talking about her. Dr. Lewis. I heard the engineering department requested to audit her predictive model. Apparently, it works better than their current system. Dean Carter, smiling faintly. That didn't take long. Professor Hill. She gave a short demo yesterday. Simple interface, nothing flashy, but the logic, brilliant. She explained data compression in ways our senior researchers struggled to simplify. Dr. Lewis. I was there. She made it look easy. Then she apologized for not explaining well enough. That humility, rare in a mind like hers. The door opens. Sarah steps in, holding a USB drive. She looks more confident now, though still soft-spoken. Sarah. You asked to see me, sir? Dean Carter. Yes, Sarah. Have a seat. She sits. The dean nods toward her with genuine respect. Dean Carter. I wanted to check how you're settling in. Is everything going smoothly? Sarah. Yes, sir. Everyone's been kind. I'm just trying to keep up. Professor Hill. You mean everyone's trying to keep up with you? Sarah laughs quietly, unsure if it's a compliment. Dr. Lewis. We reviewed your project again. The Chancellor was impressed. They're considering funding it under the university's innovation grant. Sarah. Surprised. Really? But it's just a small idea. Dean Carter. Small ideas change big things. You've reminded us of that. Sarah hesitates, looking down at her hands. Sarah. Can I say something? Dean Carter. Of course. Sarah. When I came here that first day, I thought I'd made a mistake. You all looked so sure I didn't belong. I almost walked out before the interview even started. The professors exchange quiet, regretful glances. Dr. Lewis. What made you stay? Sarah. My mother. She said, if they don't see you, speak until they do. So I spoke, even when no one was listening. A small silence follows. The dean folds his hands, his voice low and sincere. Dean Carter. I should have listened sooner. I let my assumptions get in the way of what I'm here to do. Recognize potential, not pedigree. Sarah. It's okay, sir. People see what they expect. I just wanted a chance to show something different. Professor Hill, you did more than that. You reminded us why we teach. Sarah smiles softly, unsure what to say. She takes out the USB drive and places it on the table. Sarah, this is the updated version of the water model. I thought the university could use it for local community outreach. It's not perfect yet, but I'm improving it. Dean Carter, taking the drive carefully. That's generous of you. Thank you, Sarah. Dr. Lewis. You know, someday this project might carry your name. The Malik model has a nice ring to it. Sarah laughs quietly. Sarah, I just wanted to help people. That's enough. A pause. The dean looks at her with quiet pride. Dean Carter, it already has. You helped us see our own biases. That's no small thing. Sarah looks touched, her eyes glistening slightly. She nods. Sarah, then maybe it was all worth it. The room falls into a peaceful silence, a shared understanding passing between them. Early morning, university courtyard. The sky is pale gold, and the campus is quiet, except for the sound of distant footsteps and rustling leaves. Dean Carter stands near the fountain, holding a folder. Sarah walks up, carrying a small backpack. Dean Carter, you're early. Sarah, smiling. I like the campus before it gets busy. It feels peaceful. Dean Carter, I can see why. Pauses. I wanted to give you something before the day started. He hands her the folder. She opens it carefully. Sarah, a letter from the Chancellor? Dean Carter, read it. She scans it silently, eyes widening. Sarah, full research grant? Project endorsement? Collaboration with city utilities? Is this real? Dean Carter, very real. They approved your model for testing in the city's main grid. You'll be leading the student research team. Sarah, softly, I don't even know what to say. Dean Carter, thank you would be a start. She laughs quietly, then grows serious. Sarah, thank you, sir, for believing me, even if it came a little late. Dean Carter, smiling faintly, I deserved that. You taught me something important, that potential doesn't always wear a polished resume. Sometimes it walks in quietly, holding an old folder, and changes everything. Sarah, you just needed a second look. Everyone does sometimes. A few students pass by, greeting the dean. Sarah watches them, her eyes thoughtful. Sarah, I was scared that day. When you told me no, I thought that was it. That maybe I was dreaming too big. Dean Carter, and yet you came back when we called. Most people wouldn't have. Sarah, my mum always said, doors don't open for people who stop knocking. Dean Carter, smart woman. Sarah, she'll be happy when she hears this. She wanted to see me graduate from here someday. Dean Carter, she will. And not just graduate. You'll probably be teaching us before long. Sarah laughs, shaking her head. Sarah, I just want to learn. That's all I ever wanted. They walk slowly along the courtyard path. The morning sun grows brighter. Dean Carter, you know, after that first interview, I wrote "not ready" on your application. I almost deleted it yesterday, but I kept it. A reminder to never make that mistake again. Sarah, maybe keep it as proof that people can change. Dean Carter, nodding. I like that better. They reach the steps outside the main hall. Sarah looks up at the tall building, the university crest, shining in the light. Sarah, I used to stand outside this gate, just watching students walk in. I'd wonder what it felt like to belong here. Dean Carter, and now? Sarah, now I don't wonder anymore. The dean smiles, quiet pride in his expression. Dean Carter, You earned your place, Sarah. The university didn't give it. You took it with grace. Sarah, smiling softly, maybe that's how it should be. They stand for a moment in silence, watching students arrive. A calm, mutual respect fills the air. Dean Carter. Well, Miss Malik, go make the most of your day. Something tells me this campus won't forget your name anytime soon. Sarah. I'll make sure they remember it for the right reasons. She starts walking toward the main hall. The dean watches her for a moment, then turns away with a faint smile. Dean Carter. To himself. Genius doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it just knocks. Politely. Sarah disappears into the building as the morning light floods the courtyard. Some stories aren't about luck, privilege, or timing. They're about someone who refuses to stop believing they belong, even when no one else does. Sarah Malik didn't just earn admission. She rewrote the rules of what potential looks like. Her quiet determination humbled those who thought they'd seen every kind of brilliance. Sometimes the simplest student walks into a system built on doubt and leaves it stronger, wiser, and more human. Never underestimate someone who seems ordinary. Genius hides in quiet persistence. Share this story if you believe talent deserves a chance, no matter where it comes from.